All right, so today we're going to dive into something pretty cool. It's called Ikigai.
Okay.
And you might have heard of it. I think it's kind of a buzzword these days, but it's a Japanese concept. And there's this book called Ikigai, The Japanese Secret to a Long and Happy Life. And we're going to kind of peel back the layers of that today.
Okay.
It's not just about living longer though, like adding years to your life.
Right.
It's really more about finding that joy and purpose in every single day, like really living.
Absolutely.
So have you ever thought about what truly makes your life feel really fulfilling?
That's a great question.
It's a deep one, right?
And for this deep dive, we're going to be looking at some pretty incredible examples of this in action. We're going to be talking about the people of Okinawa.
Oh, cool.
Who are known for their long and vibrant lives. And they got some pretty practical insights from their way of living that we can all kind of learn from.
Awesome. I'm excited. So this book talks about Ikigai as this central point where a few things come together. What are the pieces of that puzzle? Let's unpack that a little bit.
So imagine you've got 4 overlapping circles. Okay. And the first circle is what you love. So your passions, the things that really light you up. The second circle is what you're good at. So think your talents, your skills, what comes naturally to you.
Got it.
And then the third one is what the world needs. So how can you actually contribute in a meaningful way?
Okay.
And then the last one, what you can be paid for. So your profession.
Oh, so it's really like that sweet spot where all those things kind of intersect.
Exactly.
The book mentions that figuring this out isn't always like a quick fix though, right? It takes some introspection.
Absolutely. It is a journey, it's self-discovery. And, for you, since you're already on this personal growth path, I think understanding those 4 areas can be a really useful guide for you to kind of explore those different areas of your life.
Right. And it's not like you have to find perfect alignment in all 4 of them right away, but it's more about recognizing and nurturing each one in your own way.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a lifelong process.
Yeah. So we've got this framework now. Let's talk about the Okinawans.
Yeah.
This place, Ogimi, has a crazy number of people living past 100, right?
It's pretty remarkable.
What can we learn from how they live day to day?
So what's really interesting is that it's not like they're doing these huge, drastic things. It's their small daily habits that seem to add up to this longevity and well-being.
Oh, interesting.
So let's start with diet and nutrition.
Okay.
Have you heard of hara, hachi, bu?
Oh, yeah, that rings a bell.
Okay, so it's the practice of eating until you're about 80% full.
Okay.
And it's a way to be more mindful about how much you're eating.
So you're really tuning into your body's signals.
Exactly, instead of just eating till you're totally stuffed.
Got it.
Their diet is also very interesting. It's largely plant-based.
Okay.
Lots of vegetables, tofu with very little meat. And it's really about variety and nutrient-rich foods and lots of antioxidants.
So for our listeners, a good starting point might not be like a complete diet overhaul.
Right.
But maybe just paying attention during meals, noticing when you start to feel full.
Exactly.
Not overly full, but just satisfied.
I think that's a great takeaway. Just that little shift in awareness can make a big difference.
It's a huge difference, yeah.
And speaking of habits and lifestyle, let's talk about physical activity. Now, you might imagine these centenarians doing these crazy, intense workouts, but it's actually quite different.
Oh, really? What do they do?
So they're all about incorporating gentle, consistent movement throughout their day.
Oh.
So things like gardening, walking around their villages, practicing Tai Chi.
Right, so it's built into their lifestyle.
Exactly. It's not about hitting the gym for an hour,
Yeah.
It's just staying active in a natural, sustainable way.
So again, it's about those small, manageable changes. Instead of feeling like I need to work out for an hour every day, maybe it's taking the stairs instead of the lift, or going for a short walk after dinner, little things that add up.
Absolutely. That's the key.
And then something else that's really important is social connections.
Oh, for sure.
The book talks about these things called moais, which sounds super interesting.
Moais are basically these tight-knit groups of friends who offer each other support throughout their lives.
Oh, wow.
And this is both practical and emotional support, so they're there for each other through thick and thin.
That's amazing.
And these bonds, they often form early on and last for decades.
Oh, wow.
And it's this deep sense of belonging and having that strong support system that really contributes to their well-being.
That's so powerful.
Yeah.
I think for our listeners, this is a good time to kind of think about your own social circle.
Yeah.
Are there connections that you can nurture more, or maybe reach out to someone you haven't spoken to in a while?
Yeah, just check in.
Because those relationships seem so important.
They are absolutely, investing in those relationships, knowing you have people you can count on, that's invaluable.
Yeah. And of course, there's stress management. We all know how much stress can impact our lives. How do the Okinawans handle stress?
Well, they seem to have a natural tendency towards mindfulness.
Okay.
And they do this often through daily rituals.
Oh, interesting.
And they also tend to maintain a very positive outlook.
Okay.
And show resilience in the face of challenges. So they accept that difficulties will arise, but they choose to approach them with optimism.
So it's not about pretending that problems don't exist. It's about how you respond to them.
Exactly.
So maybe incorporating a short mindfulness practice, into your day, even just a few minutes of quiet reflection and consciously trying to reframe challenges, focusing on what you can learn or how you can move forward.
Yeah, I think that's a great takeaway.
Yeah.
Small, consistent habits like that can really build up that mental toughness over time.
Totally. So the book also talks about some cool ideas around staying vibrant as we age. And one of those is flow.
Yes.
I've heard this term before, but what does it actually mean?
So flow is that amazing state where you are completely absorbed in an activity that you find both enjoyable and meaningful. You're so focused that you lose track of time.
I love that.
And, engaging in these kinds of activities actually contributes to your overall life satisfaction.
That makes sense.
It's like you're in the zone, nothing else matters.
We've all experienced that at some point, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
When you're so into something that everything else just disappears.
Sure.
So for our listeners, think about what activities bring you that sense of flow and try to make more space for those in your life.
Absolutely.
It's not just a hobby. It's like a key to happiness.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there's resilience, which we kind of touched on with stress management, but it's worth highlighting again.
Yeah.
It's about that positive attitude and actively looking for solutions when things get tough.
So instead of dwelling on the problem, you shift your focus to, okay, what can I do about this?
It's proactive.
Exactly. And, for you, when you face a challenge, maybe try to consciously guide your thoughts towards those solutions.
Yeah.
Even if they seem small at first.
It can change everything.
It can totally shift your perspective.
Yeah. The book also mentioned this concept of wabi-sabi.
Oh, yes.
It sounds kind of beautiful. What is that all about?
So wabi-sabi is this beautiful philosophy that encourages us to appreciate imperfection and the transient nature of life.
Okay.
So it's finding beauty in the things that are flawed or incomplete.
Interesting.
Instead of always striving for this perfect ideal, you can find peace and appreciation in things exactly as they are.
Love that.
Think about the beauty in a well-worn object or the unique character of something that's handmade.
Oh, yeah. That favorite mug that has a little chip in it.
Exactly.
Or, the way the sunlight streams through a dusty window.
Yes.
It's finding the beauty in those everyday imperfect moments.
Exactly. Those little details.
For our listeners, maybe take a moment today to notice something imperfect around you and try to see the beauty in it.
That's a great practice.
And then there's this concept of anti-fragility.
Yes.
That's a really interesting word.
Yes.
How does that fit into all of this?
So anti-fragility, as it's discussed in the book, is the idea that some systems actually benefit from a bit of disorder and stress.
Okay.
Up to a certain point, of course. But it's about becoming stronger through those challenges.
So it's not just about bouncing back, it's about growing from it.
Exactly. Think about how your muscles get stronger after a workout.
Right.
They're stressed, but they adapt and grow.
So it's not just surviving, it's about thriving.
Exactly.
So for our listeners, maybe reflect on past challenges and how they actually made you stronger. And then try to approach future difficulties with that mindset of growth.
That's a powerful shift.
Yeah. To wrap things up with some practical wisdom for daily living.
Okay.
Give us those key takeaways.
So some concrete things you can start thinking about are finding purposeful work. Even in the small tasks and focusing on the value that you bring. Practice mindful eating. So slow down, stop when you're about 80% full.
Got it.
And then think about that Okinawan idea of never retiring.
Okay.
Which doesn't literally mean you never stop working, but it's about staying engaged in activities that give you meaning and joy.
Throughout your whole life.
Exactly. And adapting as needed.
These all seem like really practical things to start playing with.
They are.
Without feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah. And remember, Ikigai isn't a destination you arrive at. It's about finding the joy and purpose in the journey itself.
Yes.
Through those small, meaningful practices woven into your everyday life.
So it's not just about adding years to your life. It's about adding life to your years.
Exactly.
Finding that spark that makes each day feel worthwhile.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So for everyone listening, what is one small change inspired by these Okinawan principles that you could implement in your life starting today?
Yeah, just one small thing.
It could be the start of something really meaningful.
A beautiful journey.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking this deep dive with us into such a fascinating topic.
It's been my pleasure.
Thanks for tuning into the deep dive. Stay tuned for the next one. And if this episode helped you explore Ikigai, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel.
We appreciate it.
See you next time.